And a very good evening to you. Welcome to TV47. I was going to say Tribe 47, but you know what? It's a Saturday, and regardless, we will keep you entertained as well as informed and educated right here. I am Shiksha Arora. Remember, if you'd like to let us know where you're watching from, and of course, we will definitely give you a shout out throughout this live broadcast. Please find us on social media. That is at TV47 Kenya. And that's on Facebook, on Instagram, as well as YouTube. You can watch us live as well and engage with us. Tell us where you're watching from and how your day has been. It's the first Saturday of 2025, and we've got a lot of stories lined up for you that will definitely keep you hooked up until 10 p.m. For now, let's take a look at tonight's highlights. Top on Weekend Edition with Shiksha. A group of leaders allied with former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has condemned the government for failing to release abducted youth.
Inspector General, tunangojea DCI, tunangojea Alhaji ule wa NIS, aje kotini tumuulize maswali, watoto wetu wako wapi?
With less than 40 hours remaining before schools open for the first term, an investigation by TV47 has revealed that some schools in the country are yet to complete the construction of classrooms for grade 9.
And we are in the final minutes of winding up, and we are expecting to finish by Sunday.
And former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua made history as the first sitting Deputy President to be impeached under the 2010 Constitution.
The Senate has resolved to remove from office by impeachment His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, AGH, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya.
Tonight we explore the events leading up to and following the impeachment of the former Deputy President. You're watching the Weekend Edition. I am Shiksha Arora, and of course our sign language interpreter tonight is Roda Nyamai. And our top story. Now, a group of leaders allied to former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua have criticized, of course, the move, the government, that is, for its failure to produce abducted teenagers. Now, the leaders expressed concern over the wave of kidnappings that are targeting young people who have been critical of the government, now accusing it of its neglect the rights of innocent Kenyans. They're speaking during a burial in Daragwa. The leaders called on the authorities to take urgent action. George Maringa has more on this story.
A day after the opposite wings of the UDA party engaged in a war of words with each other during different events, allies of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua have come out guns blazing, blaming the government over the alleged wave of abductions. Led by Nyandarua Senator John Metho, Naivasha MP Jane Kihara, former Laikipia MP Ketu Arogoro, and lawyer Ndegwa Njiru, they vowed to fight for Kenyans' rights and hold the government accountable.
Nilisikia reverend mwingine kama wewe, kwanza alikuwa deputy bishop wa kanisa wa Pefa, tarehe 31, wakati anaombea watu akiwaambia hii mwaka itakuwa sawa sawa, askari walirudisha tear gas kwa kanisa yake. Kwa hivyo usione tunakataza maneno ama tunapinga maneno ya tear gas, useme ni sisi wenyewe. Tear gas ilirushwa kwa kanisa on the 31st. Kanisa inaitwa Pefa Miharati. Kwa hivyo hata wewe unaweza enda kupeana Holy Communion. Wakati tunasema waberalia igoroshi ya usikie tear gas imerushwa pahali penye huko wewe mwenyewe. Hii siasa ikiwa mbaya, hata wewe Reverend itakuharibikia. Hakuna mtu itakuwa mzuri sana. Ukitaka kujua hii siasa itakuwa mbaya, siku ile SHA itakosa kufanya kazi, ya hawa itakosa kufanya kazi, na yako itakosa kufanya kazi ukienda hospitali. So tukubalisha kidogo kidogo, sisi siasa kidogo kidogo ile inaenda mbaya, tunasema hiyo ni mbaya.
Hii uhuru tunayozungumzia siku hizi tulimwagia damu. So we are so painful when we see the country being led in the wrong direction. And we are going to fight for our constitution. We are going to fight for the rule of law. Na tutasimama na katiba iwe iwalo.
They spoke in Kilimanjaro village in the Shamata ward of Ndaragwa constituency at the funeral service of Agnes Muthoni Kenywa, nicknamed Major Gashebo, who died at the age of 91 after a protracted illness.
That is a freedom we are asking. Kuna watu wengine walikuja second liberation. That is what we were asking. The Kenyans are not foolish anymore. And Reverend, please, because mimi ni Presbyterian, sitaweza kutoka nje, lakini wacha niseme hii tu. Mtu anaitwa Kimani Ichung'wah. Nataka nimjibu hapa. Kusimama kwa microphone kusema abduction inafanywa na kikosi ya Rigiji ni kuwafanya Wakenya wajinga. When the president himself had acknowledged kuna abduction na itaisha.
A youth leader, I want to call the Cabinet Secretary Interior to order. As an elected leader in this, a youthful leader in this great nation, do not provoke the youth of this nation. The spirit of Gen Zs will awaken, and you will not love it, because we will talk for our fellow youths. We are the mouthpiece of our fellow youths.
The late Major Gachagua was married to the late former Mau Mau fighter Elijah Kenywa, aka General Bahati. When the burial service began, there was some anxiety since it had been reported that former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua would be in attendance, but it was later revealed that he was held up elsewhere and could not make it.
Stop the abductions. Stop the abducting the youth of this great nation. The youth are being targeted.
Watu wake wamekamata na kuteka watoto wetu nyara, inakuja tarehe 8. Na tunangojea IG, Inspector General, tunangojea DCI, tunangojea Alhaji ule wa NIS, aje kotini tumuulize maswali. Watoto wetu wako wapi? Mnataka tuulize maswali? Tuendelee kutetea nchi?
There was heavy deployment of police officers from Shamata, Daragwa, Mairenya and Karai police stations, prompting rising tension among mourners. George Maringa, TV47, Nairobi.
All right, so moving on to other stories. Former Murang'a Governor Mwangi wa Iria recently appointed as the chairperson, that is, of the Procurement Regulatory Board, has called for an investigation into the activities of a group known as Itungati. Now, the group, allegedly rallying Mount Kenya support for former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, has been accused of misusing the legacy of Mau Mau fighters. Wairia's remarks came shortly after the former deputy president faced backlash for his comments against Embu leaders at a funeral in Mbeere North.
Former Murang'a Governor Mwangi wa Iria is calling for investigations into an alleged new political outfit affiliated to former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. The group, named Itungati, is said to be made up of supporters of the former second-in-command, Wairia now saying it poses a serious security threat.
Wewe unafanya mambo alafu unaenda unapiga karumbeta upande ule mwingine. Kikundi kinafanya unaenda unapiga karumbeta upande ule mwingine. Sisi hatuogopi mtu. Na wale ambao wanafanya hivyo hapa tumefungua macho na tunamuona. Nyinyi mnaitwa ati nyinyi ndio viongozi wa Itungati sect hapa.
The Itungati group is said to have been holding grassroots meetings, making the ground hostile for those failing to support the former DP.
Vikundi halamu, they will intimidate, they will abduct, they will maim, they will kill, because they are not guided by anything. Because lazima kikundi kiwe kimewekwa halali na sheria.
Meanwhile, a section of Embu leaders have also come forth criticizing Rigathi Gachagua for what they say were direct attacks to them at a funeral in the county Friday.
Governor wa Embu amenyamaza. Amenyamaza. Senator huyu Mundigi alisema anaonekana, amenyamaza. Huyu mbunge wa Nairobi amenyamaza.
These sentiments from the former DP come at a time when Billy Mwangi, a 24-year-old student who was abducted in Embu 4 days to Christmas last year, still remains missing to date. Mbeere North Member of Parliament Geoffrey Ruku accusing Gachagua of lacking respect by making inappropriate political attacks at a time when the entire constituency was grieving.
People call a meeting, tukutane kwa uwanja hizi zote, tupimane nguvu. Tuone ni nani ambaye ako na nguvu kuliko yule mwingine.
First-term MP further challenging Gachagua to hold a public meeting in Mbeere North instead of using funerals as platforms for political rhetoric that disregards the feeling of the bereaved. Sheila Chelangat for TV47.
Now, after weeks of public absence and speculation, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has re-emerged, breaking his silence during a wedding ceremony in Limuru, Kiambu County. Addressing Kenyans, Kindiki dismissed rumors of a fallout with President William Ruto, stating that he had taken a short leave with the president's approval. He reassured the public that he remains committed to Kenyans, of course, and of course the Kenya Kwanza agenda. Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen, Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo, and other officials were also in attendance. Take a look.
I'm left with a few hours. My holiday is coming to an end, and therefore I need to enjoy whatever is left and ignore everything else. Ignore everything else. Completely. Completely. Just ignore everything else. Yeah. Don't fall into the trap of triviality and small things and small issues and little things and so forth. We have a business. I am glad His Excellency the President allowed me a few days off. I feel so energized. And I believe that this is a year that all of us, we will rally, support the President, and take Kenya to the next level. Asanteni sana. And that is my prayer today for Kenya. That is my prayer for all of us. That is the President's prayer. We pray that as much as we want to take Kenya forward, make it have the best roads, better connectivity for power, better amenities, better schools, better health facilities. We are also praying and we yearn for a country where we have some values that define us.
Now, with less than 40 hours before schools reopen for the first term, a TV47 spot check has revealed that some schools are yet to complete the construction of grade 9 classrooms. This development has raised concerns among parents and education stakeholders regarding the government's preparedness for the grade 9 transition under the competency-based curriculum. That's the CBC. Now, Andreen Kilemi reports on the state of readiness across the country.
There could be a wave of confusion come Monday when students are expected to officially open schools for the first term. A spot check by TV47 has revealed that some schools are yet to complete the construction of classrooms meant for grade 9 transition. Here at Limuru Town Primary School in Kiambu County, masons are hard at work to ensure construction is complete before the official school opening day. The contractor here is confident that construction will be completed within the next 36 hours.
And we are in the final minutes of winding up, and we are expecting to finish by Sunday.
It has not been easy. As you know, we have to build or construct 52 classes in Limuru. And by this weekend, they will all be ready. We had a shortage of about 8 or so, and those are the schools that are not getting new classes. We have plans to use the existing classrooms that are available.
A few kilometers from Limuru Town School is Limuru Mission School, where workers are busy at work. As one is doing the plastering on the walls, another is installing tiles on the floor, while another ensures that windows and doors are secure. Elsewhere, a few kilometers from Limuru Mission School, workers are painting the buildings at Umoja Primary School, a clear indication that work is done here. In Naivasha, the scene is not different. Workers are racing against time, their energy focused on putting the final touches on the classrooms, determined to ensure that no detail is left unfinished.
Ni kama wamejaribu sana kwa sababu unajua imefanywa within 1 month's time. Now hiyo kazi yote mpaka finishing wamejaribu sana.
Elsewhere in Busia County, infrastructure and resources are ready. This is according to Busia County Education Director James Elkalio, who says 303 grade 9 classrooms are ready for use starting Monday.
We are at 92% complete. We have already commissioned a few, and by the end of next week, we will be done with all the classrooms in phase 2.
And as the clock ticks, some teachers are left wondering if the essential learning materials will be available in time for the new term. This uncertainty persists, despite the government's effort to disburse textbooks to schools late last year.
We don't have enough books. Maybe the government could look into that.
All right, apologies for that. Now moving on to the next story. A family in Kirinyaga is in shock after their 13-year-old daughter was allegedly raped and strangled to death. The grade 7 pupil was found dead in a coffee farm. Now, according to the relatives, the daughter left the rest of the family within the compound at around 10 a.m. and after a search, she was found murdered some few meters from the house. Police said the pupil was sexually assaulted before being strangled to death, and then the body was dragged from the scene. The attacker also left a piece of cloth around her neck, suggesting that she had been strangled. Blood was also oozing from her ears and nose, and her innerwear were missing. Police took the body to Kirinyaga County Referral Hospital mortuary as they launched investigations.
It is so astonishing finding out that an innocent person can die out of a malicious deal from people who have their own ill intentions. So what I would request the government to do is to make sure that we have found out the real culprits of the incidents, so that at least we can be able to curb this behavior, because it is not a first incident. It has happened severally, and so I would request, with a humble request, the government to take initiative measures and make sure that we have come out with the correct person who has done that act.
Akuja nimemtafuta sana mpaka Kibingo, nimemkosa nikarudi huko nyumbani, lakini tumempata kwa kahawa kama ameuawa na amefichwa na majani. Si tuna huzuni sana, tuna uchungu, sababu wenye walifanya hivyo ni watu, ni binadamu, watu wako na akili timamu, lakini waliona tu watunyang'anye mmoja wetu, mtoto wetu tu. Mungu aliye juu hatalala. Mungu anawaona na Mungu atalipisa.
Na kwa siku ya leo tumekuja hapa Dimi, Inoi Ward, Kirinyaga Central, kwa sababu ya jambo ambalo limetokea kwa hii familia, na ni jambo la kusangaza sana, na kwamba mtoto ameuawa na akashikwa cha nguvu, na tunaomba serikali ichukue hii ikiwa jambo la maana sana, kwa sababu hii si tukio la kwanza, na tunaomba kwa heshima kamati zote zikishikana, tafadhali tuone hii familia imetendewa haki.
Right, quite a disturbing story there, and we do hope that justice is served. May her soul rest in peace. Now moving on, coffee farmers from Gachagua Coffee Society in Kiharu have voiced strong opposition to recent directives issued by the Cabinet Secretary for Cooperatives, Wycliffe Oparanya. The directive mandates cooperative societies to lodge service contracts and liabilities with commercial banks for settlement through the direct settlement system, and stipulates that all coffee farmers receive their earnings directly from the Nairobi Coffee Exchange. The farmers under Gachagua Cooperative Society have raised concerns, stating that while the directives aim to streamline payments, they fail to address systemic challenges within the cooperative societies. Our reporter from Muranga, Robert Kakure, has more on this.
Coffee farmers from Gachagua Cooperative Society in Kiharu constituency have opposed the government's directives through the Ministry of Cooperatives, requiring coffee farmers to be receiving their earnings directly from the Nairobi Coffee Exchange.
There was some directives that were given by Wycliffe Oparanya, the CS for Cooperative,
whereby he had directed the DSS to start collecting farmers' document and their cherry intake so that DSS can pay farmers direct. My farmers have rejected that directive and have declared that they will be paid by the society where they bring coffee and where they can be able to ask questions.
Speaking during the annual general meeting, the farmers have said the directives by Cabinet Secretary for Cooperatives Wycliffe Oparanya does not address the pressing issues they face within their societies.
The spirit of cooperative will definitely die because there will be nowhere farmer can ask question because the DSS is not part of the cooperatives.
Mkulima ataona amenyimwa haki yake, kazi yake ni kumwaga jasho tu, lakini kule kwenye utumizi wa pesa na kugayana pesa yeye hana usemi.
They emphasized that instead of imposing new directives, the Cabinet Secretary should focus on resolving the existing challenges affecting their operations and that the government's priorities should be aligned with their needs for effective support.
Kama wanataka kusaidia sisi kama wakulima, ni afadhali kwanza walete services, extension officers walipwe ili wakuje watusaidie jinsi tunaweza fanya ukulima mzuri tupate pesa mingi.
Among the key issues highlighted by the farmers is lack of access to subsidized fertilizer, which they claim has not yet been distributed to them, saying it is impacting their productivity.
Kuna wakati serikali imetusaidia, hakuna dawa anatupea, hakuna kitu anatupea. Kwa hivyo tunaomba tuachiriwe tufanye kazi yetu na tujiuzie kawa yetu.
Now this is the third year. The government promised to give to deliver fertilizer to all cooperatives stores, and being the third year, my farmers have received nothing.
Reporting for TV47 from Murang'a County, I'm Robert Gakure.
In other news, more than 1,600 community health promoters, that's CHPs, in Kirinyaga County have finally received their stipends after a year-long wait, and that is 33 million shillings payment covering 6 months that was dispersed by the county government. Now, the program, launched in 2023 by President William Ruto, had faced delays due to budgetary approval issues. Speaking at Kiprigut Chumo Stadium, Governor Eric Mutai assured the CHPs of timely payments in the future, commending the national government for their consistent 50% contributions.
The agreement is that we are supposed to pay 50-50. The national government pay 50, the county governments pay 50. I want to announce today, right here, that right now as we speak today, the 33 million Kenya shillings, which was supposed to be dispatched as part of payment of the arrears for the $500 million, which is a period of 6 months, have already been paid into the individual accounts as we speak now. And you can check your accounts. For those who are in KCB, you can check your accounts.
All right, and with that, it's time for us to take a short break. We'll be back with more. Don't go too far.
This December, learn about safety precautions to take into consideration this season.
If you can remember, if you drive on a motorcycle often, to make sure that you have a helmet, it's key to decreasing the severity of the accidents.
If you are passing in a bus from Kakamega to Mombasa, in between, just stand up, stretch your legs, and even when you are seated, keep pumping your feet, keep moving your feet to avoid that long stasis of blood in the veins.
Healthier options for you to maintain a balanced lifestyle amid the holiday hustle.
Eating healthy really doesn't mean that you have to deprive yourself, but we really just have to factor on how to strike a balance. Portion control and moderation are very key. Let us enjoy the season, and at the same time, let us try to watch our health and our well-being.
Happy holidays.
Hey there friends, welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in? I was number 2. What position were you? Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Join us as we explore the journeys of those who defy the odds and break barriers. We dive deep into the stories of triumph.
Sometimes when parenting a child with a special need or whatever disability, family life becomes a bit complicated and you may end up raising the child on your own.
Here, we inspire.
I have a farm which one we showcase with other dyslexic youths and autism how to farm.
Motivate.
It's never easy, but what we do, the best thing is to work with another parent who has an elder child than yours.
And break through the barriers one story at a time. Push your boundaries beyond the limit. Saturdays at 8 p.m. The Grind, where business meets brilliance. It's not just about the ideas.
I was working as a shampoo boy. I used to wash clients' hair on the sink.
It's about making them happen. From big wins.
In primary school, when we would be asked what people want to be, I was categorical that I want to be a nurse.
To hard lessons.
The consoles change, the gaming equipment keep changing.
We cover it all. Tune in to The Grind, where every episode is packed with insights.
The person who is serving customers, always be a customer-centric.
Strategies.
When you pay attention to detail, you get luxury items.
And stories to fuel your ambition. Don't just dream it, grind it. Mondays at 7:30 p.m.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora. Kutoka kwa ushindi mkubwa hadi masomo magumu.
Wakati wetu kwamba wasichana si wa kusoma, ni wa kuolewa, ng'ombe ipatikane, wazazi wakuwe watajiri.
Tunashughulikia yote.
I wish I were a better investor.
My parents taught me how to look for things for myself.
Tazama Mfahamu Kiongozi, ambapo kila kipindi kimejaa maarifa, mikakati na hadithi za kukuza azma yako.
For me to succeed, I have to fight.
Kila Alhamisi
All right, welcome back to Weekend Edition on TV47. Now, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua made history as the first sitting Deputy President to be impeached under the 2010 Constitution. Gachagua's impeachment, approved in a record 1 week by the two houses of Parliament in October this year, has triggered a political backlash in the Mount Kenya region, where the region has fallen out with President Ruto while reshaping the country's political arena. Apollo Kamau reports on a man whose political career lies with the judiciary. Take a look.
Hounded out of office through an impeachment vote that was predetermined and intended to condemn him to political gallows, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's impeachment brought the nation to a standstill as former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and President William Ruto allied MPs bayed for his blood, appending 291 signatures in support of the impeachment motion that surpassed the 117 threshold required for the motion to stand.
And for the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya to assert its constitutional authority, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua must be impeached today. I urge members.
Despite the obvious, Gachagua stood put and laughed off the impeachment, choosing instead to face his accusers, saying he will not resign, terming the accusations leveled against him as political witch hunt, and dug in.
This is a man elected by 7.2 million Kenyans. How dare you suggest to him that he can do so without public participation? I have no intention whatsoever to resign from this job. I'll fight to the end.
As his deputy braced himself for the guillotine, President William Ruto stayed aloof and curiously silent as he washed his hands off Gachagua like Pontius Pilate during the crucifixion of Jesus and left him to his foot soldiers.
We handpicked a one-term member of parliament, a former DO from Madeira, and we made him William Ruto's running mate. You know, we tried. We tried to make this man look presidential. We went to a point where even we got him a tailor. We got him a fashion designer so that he can dress him in a manner that befits a president. Because a deputy president is a president. You know, we got him a communication expert way before elections were held, just to train this man on how to communicate. You know, we were a bit worried that when he was facing Mother Karua, so we got him somebody to train him on how to communicate. Yeah? Where we failed after he was elected, we failed to train him on what to say in public and what not to say. So he continued to destroy himself.
According to political pundits, Gachagua was a problem that needed to be fixed. He was becoming a threat to his boss, President William Ruto, with his accusers alleging he funded Gen Z protests, an accusation he denied. He was further accused of whipping up public emotions on what his critics termed as ethnic bigotry for championing the interest of the Mount Kenya region.
And Your Excellency, we thank God as a close of this year, as I conclude, that this country survived an attempted coup on the 25th of June, masterminded by the same person that we hounded out of office for the bad manners, the Honorable Jurenta said. And I have no fear in saying that, Your Excellency. The attempted coup of June 25th, because it was an attempted coup, someone took advantage of our children who were engaging in legitimate protests concerned by issues in their country. Na nafurahi, even wale wa kupanga maandamano, niliona juzi kwa runinga kijana wa maandamano kama huyu Gaucho anaitwa Boniface Mwangi, akisema wale watu walienda kupora mbuzi ya Uhuru Kenyatta pale Ruiru ndio walipanga vile bunge itavamiwa, ichomwe, Supreme Court ichomwe, na wakajaribu kupanga ati watu wavamie State House, watoe rais kwa kiti. And those people are not many. It is your former Deputy President, Your Excellency. If he failed that time, he will never succeed in dividing the people of Kenya or bringing chaos in this country.
So why did he have to do that? Maybe it was a condition he received from Raila Odinga that if you are going to cooperate to give some legitimacy to your government, get rid of this guy. Maybe. And Raila is very good at those things. Whenever he gets into a new government in which he lost and he's accepted, it looks as if he starts undermining the number 2, because he should be the primary guy. That's one. 2, it's possible that Gachagua misunderstood his role. And although a few people tried to warn him and tell him you are making a mistake, he ignored, because he believed that he knows. And the DO in him never left.
With odds heavily stacked against him, Gachagua and his team of lawyers marched to the National Assembly to face 11 grounds laid out for his impeachment, where he apologized to MPs for his explosive media address on the previous day, Monday.
If you are so persuaded and you search your conscience without any intimidation or coercion or inducement, and you think is the right thing to do, please go ahead and do so. If you search your conscience and listen to the issues that have been adduced here, and you find that there are no grounds to impeach the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, please make the right decision. But as you do so, many members who are in this House remember what President William Ruto as Deputy President went through. And most of us stood with him. Rigathi Gachagua underwent 4 years of persecution. Others were persecuted. But we took a firm stand because we believed we were doing the right thing.
Honorable Speaker, behind the veneer of humility that you have seen here this evening, behind the veneer of humility that Kenyans saw on national TVs on Sunday, pretending to apologize, is a dark face of violence, is a dark face, Honorable Speaker, that is a great danger to our nationhood.
Mr. Speaker, I was shocked under the public participation, people saying that Kufa Makanga, Kufa driver, Mr. Speaker. We cannot allow the driver to die because it is an issue. We are witnessing a situation where the Makanga wants to take the steering by force. And what happens after that? The driver is carrying 55 million Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. We cannot allow the driver to die because 55 million Kenyans are going to die with him. But the Makanga, who is just hanging at the door there of the matatu, can go, Mr. Speaker, if he misbehaves, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, the motion before us is frivolous, it is baseless, it is lacking in substance. It is nothing but a shambolic political scheme to hang the truthful man for merely being truthful.
During his defense, Gachagua played a video clip showing President Ruto calling out former DCI boss George Kinoti, who was later forced to resign, saying his attack on NIS boss Nordin Haji was motivated by Ruto for failing to advise the president on the deadly Gen Z protest in June 2024.
I have tremendous respect for the National Assembly and your ability and capacity to make the right decision.
Gachagua further defended himself on claims that he amassed 5.2 billion shillings wealth illegally, terming it as his brother's inheritance amid claims that he forced the sale of his brother's property.
Honorable members, that was President William Ruto as Deputy President, criticizing IG Mutiabai, DCI Kinoti. Rigathi Gachagua has learned his job from his boss, that public officers must be caught to order when they fell short of expectation. And I never saw anybody bring William Ruto here for impeachment for criticizing the IG or the DCI.
The ayes 281, so the ayes have it.
Out of the 291 MPs who appended their signatures, 281 MPs voted to impeach Gachagua, 10 changing their mind, mostly from the Mount Kenya region. In total, 44 MPs voted against Gachagua's impeachment. Teto MP Geoffrey Wandeto attempted to withdraw his signature in the last minute, but was told off by the Speaker.
Imagining yourself to be a co-president is dangerous. Anytime. It was Moi who in 1984 told Kibaki at the airport, stop thinking. Because thinking is a presidential prerogative. You wait for your turn. And then here, when he was vice president, he did not have a mind of his own. So stop. I think it was very good instruction, and Kibaki behaved very well thereafter. Because there can never be two presidents. To give the impression that you are co-president is dangerous in itself.
In the Senate, where the die was also cast, drama unfolded after Gachagua was taken ill, moments before he could testify. Senators upholding the impeachment by the National Assembly, 53 senators out of 66, voting to impeach Gachagua, making him the first sitting deputy president to be impeached under the 2010 Constitution.
Hiyo ndio hiyo mtego ya Gachagua. Aliweka mtego kule kwa State House. Anawekea baba mtego. Ati hakuna mambo ya handshake. Hakuna mambo ya mzumukati. Ako wapi sasa Gachagua? Ako wapi? Mjinga sana.
And in the mind of at least the Mount Kenya region, give them an enemy. Give them somebody to hate. They have hated Raila for a very long time. Now they will get an alternative. So I would not have advised the president to impeach Gachagua, because by his very nature, Gachagua is a fairly difficult person. So by 2027, Gachagua was going to leave UND and form a party and run for president and divide the opposition. And that would have made it easy for the president re-election campaign. Now it will be more difficult for the president re-election because an impeached Gachagua cannot run. So he is forced to support someone else now, supporting someone else. Let's just say, for example, that he hoped to support Kalonzo, for example. He creates a formidable force that it will not be clever to ignore.
Ruto is going to be re-elected. Take this word and take to the bank. He's going to be re-elected come 2027. You know, Ruto has been judged harshly so fast because it's only 2 years in the office. And I believe the other presidents have never been judged like him. You know, people, I think they have a very different perception on him, but he's a person who is trying to make things work by following the manifesto. Most of the presidents have never followed manifestos. It is only Ruto who has taken head on. The issues of housing, it was in Jubilee. It was never implemented by the then President Uhuru Kenyatta. And now, Ruto has decided to implement it. The issue of SHA and SHIP is also taking a toll on him because maybe people are trying to resist.
At the current hospital, days after his impeachment, Gachagua blamed President William Ruto for his tribulations, saying his security was withdrawn and survived 2 assassination attempts by the National Intelligence Service.
Security agents entered my room in Kisumu and bagged it. And one of them tried to poison my food. But we detected it and were able to escape the scheme. I was supposed to be killed through poisoning. On 3rd of September, in Nyeri, another team from the National Intelligence Service came to Nyeri and tried to poison food that was meant for me and Kikuyu Council of Elders.
As the impeachment wore on in Parliament, Gachagua, through his lawyers led by Paul Muite, was blocking his replacement by the man he denied a chance in 2022, Professor Kithure Kindiki. After back and forth grueling sessions, Gachagua lost despite more than 20 petitions challenging his impeachment. Gachagua's fate on whether he will contest in the ballot now hangs in the courts, which in 2025 are expected to decide whether he was hounded out of office illegally and give him a political lifeline.
We have faith that our judiciary will protect and uphold the Constitution of Kenya and will exercise fairness and give justice to Rigathi Gachagua and his supporters. That is our prayer.
Wangapi wanasema nisumbuka kila pahali nikiambia wananchi ile naendelea.
Gachagua's ouster has not only earned him sympathy in the Mount Kenya region, but made him a messiah, if not the region's kingpin, a region that has proved hostile to President Ruto and his allies, forcing the president to reach out to his predecessor, former President Uhuru Kenyatta. The ground has become so hostile that Ruto's UDA allied MPs and his allies in the executive are being heckled in public spaces in the region. The ordination of Catholic Bishop Peter Kimani as the next Bishop of Embu early November gave Gachagua the perfect opportunity to test his popularity in an event attended by retired President Uhuru Kenyatta. Gachagua and his allies were, however, kept in the periphery during the event. Gachagua has since become a formidable opposition leader, whipping the populous Mount Kenya region against President Ruto for betraying the region, while aligning himself with other opposition leaders led by Kalonzo Musyoka.
Ujitayarishe ukuje uambie watu ya mlima, rais watu ya mlima walikupenda bure. Walikupenda tu, wakakuamini, wakaambiwa na Uhuru Kenyatta wewe hapana mtu mzuri, wakasema hapana wewe ni mzuri. Kweli ama uongo? Wakatoka wakakupigia kura. Wewe ukija uambie kwa nini uliwasaliti na kuwachukia na kuwatesa. Ukimaliza hiyo rais uambie hawa watu walikupenda ya mlima na Kenya ingine, wakikwambia Kenya haiendi mzuri, mbona unatukana hao, unawaambia hao wako na pepo?
Analysts have predicted Ruto's handshake with Uhuru will have no impact despite the nomination of 3 of Uhuru's allies into the cabinet, former Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe and former Governors Lee Kenyanjui and William Kabogo.
We shall work day and night to restore the glory of Meru. Na hata kama wanatudharau, wanafikiria hakuna pahali tunaweza kuenda, sababu kitendawili wamechukua, Uhuru sasa ndiye huyo wameko naye. Let me tell you, the future that I can see for this country ni kwamba heshima ndio itadetermine uhusiano wa sisi wa kwenda mbele.
Our people are not happy. They are saying even if no minister was appointed, even an ambassador, how come even no ambassador has been appointed in this group? We are saying the Meru people are tired from being taken for granted. Meru people do not want to be political nomads anymore.
People are unhappy with Ruto, mainly because of his policies, which appear to be underdeveloping the country, which appear to, some people claim, to victimize certain sections. And the mountain feels particularly victimized, and therefore unhappy, because the policies that have been adopted have been making them poorer instead of richer. So within those 2 years, the tide changed. And that is not going to be changed by appointing a few politicians.
Since his impeachment in October, it has not been a walk in the park for the former DP after goons attacked him during a burial in Limuru in November, hurling chairs and stones at his entourage, forced to flee for their safety.
Lakini ile kitu tumeona ni majaribio kwa maisha ya aliyekuwa naibu wa rais Rigathi Gachagua. Na venye tumeona hao wakora walikuwa wana target kwenye Rigathi Gachagua meketi, ile gari Rigathi Gachagua walikuwa naenda ndani yake, walikuwa wanamtarget yeye mwenyewe. Na hao sio wananchi wa hapa.
In December 2024 in Shamata, Nyandarua County, a tear gas canister was hurled at the podium where he was seated, forcing his security to rescue him to safety.
Hata mkiharibu mikutano, hata mkituma vijana wakuja na mapanga, hata mkikuja na tear gas, hii watu yote walitoka kwa UDA.
In late December, Gachagua once again threw a spanner in the works in the middle of public outrage over abductions, revealing that a secret police unit is behind the abductions.
There is a unit of police officers that are not under the command of the Inspector General of Police that are carrying out these abductions and killings. There is a building in Nairobi, the 21st floor, in the city center, where this unit is operating from. Led by a certain Mr. Abel, will be giving a second name in the next 1 week or so. It's a unit of officers drawn from across security agencies that are not under the command of the Inspector General of Police. Abel is a cousin to a very senior government official in this administration.
The former DO, known to be a sharpshooter, abrasive and confrontational, is banking on the judiciary to save his political career. But whether he is cleared or not, he remains a key determinant in the Mount Kenya politics and could even become a kingmaker on whoever he backs in 2027. Apul Kamau, TV47.